everyone, I'm Cameron Fanuff. I'm the Marketing Communications Associate here at BioSurfaces Incorporated. And if you haven't seen me in the past, Webcast, I pretty much work hand in hand with the business development group and senior management to develop different ways to bring different aspects of our proprietary electrospinning technology to potential partners and customers. Today, we're very fortunate that we're celebrating our 18th anniversary. So we've been in business 18 years, and today we want to kind of look back on all of our achievements that we've had so far and look into the future to see what our future brings. And what better way to do that than bring on our team of everyone here at BioSurfaces. And so today's webcast is going to be a little different. It's not going to be one take of just everyone in our company. It's going to be individual takes from every single person. So I hope you guys enjoy that, and we're going to be bringing on the President and Chief Technology Officer of BioSurfaces, Matthew Fanuff. And now joining me, as previously mentioned, is Matthew Fanuff. Can you give the audience a brief overview of the company's structure?
Thanks, Cam. As a high-level overview, biosurfaces can be broken down to really three simple components: research and development, or R&D, manufacturing, and business development. While many companies today seem to want to silo or isolate the individual components of their company, biosurfaces has a core belief that more will be accomplished when all the teams are interacting together throughout the entire process. However, it wasn't always the case. When BioSurfaces was first launched in 2003, we were primarily focused on R&D. None of the other two groups existed. We've been able to slowly build the company to begin to develop new business and advance the research and development of the company.
I know we've talked about this in prior podcasts and webcasts, and you've probably been asked this many times before, but what took you so long to begin the launch of a new product/device?
Well, being funded with government grants and contracts during the first 10 years allowed the company to really develop its core electrospinning technology. And for me, being a scientist, this was heaven. As a business owner, we really should have advanced faster to moving the technology into a product, but hindsight is always 2020.
You've seen so many different changes throughout the company throughout all these years, from new technologies being developed and changes in team members over the years to funding highs and funding lows. What are some of the fondest moments?
So I still walk into biosurfaces every day, and I'm excited about what the company continues to achieve. To me, sometimes it still feels like a dream when I look around and see what we've developed here. I love coming into work every day, even when things sometimes are not so great. But we've really had a lot more highs than lows. I still can't believe when I look around what we've continued to build over the past 18 years. The pandemic has really made me appreciate this even more. While we've had so many different highs and lows, I still love what we do here and believe that we can make a difference in people's lives.
Completely agree. And thank you, Matt. We're going to move on and bring Tina on board here. Tina Fanuff, as some of you may know, is also my mother, and she's the co-founder of BioSurfaces, who serves as the Vice President of Finance and Administration. Now we're bringing Tina Fanuff on board, and you like to be behind the scenes at the company, yet you do have a massive impact to the company operations. Can you tell our viewers a little bit about your background?
Sure, thanks, Cam. I majored in textile chemistry in college and went on to work at the Navy Clothing and Textile Research Facility at Natick Labs for around 10 years. Then I was fortunate enough to be home with my kids for quite a bit of time, doing some part-time work on the side. Around 2002, Matt was getting pretty burnt out of commuting into Boston, and part of his job at the Beth Israel Deaconess Medical Center required him to write grants to get funding for their lab. He had just helped a friend start a company by helping him write a grant for his business. So we figured it might be worth a try to have him write another grant to try to start a business for ourselves. We were fortunate to get the grant, and BioSurfaces was born.
Awesome. You're a scientist by training, yet you run the financial operations side of the company. Why did you decide to do that, and what made you prepare for this transition?
I have always felt like I took the wrong professional career path. Like I mentioned, I went into textile chemistry, but I've always loved math and have always been in charge of our home finances since we were married. At the beginning, when we opened the business, I had helped Matt with a few experiments. But then I just have always felt more comfortable keeping track of the finances. I had taken a lot of math classes for my degree in college, but I hadn't taken any accounting courses. So I decided to go back to Framingham State College and take a couple of accounting classes. I also took an Excel class, bookkeeping, and some QuickBook classes to also help me better prepare and understand the dealings of running a business.
What have been your favorite aspects of owning a company, and what have been the challenges?
I would definitely say my favorite part has been working with Matt every day. And then for the last few years, working with you, my son, and my future son-in-law, Nate, working with us on this crazy thing we call our business. It would have been a perfect situation to also have our daughter, Taryn, work with us, but she chose the noble profession of being a nurse, and so obviously can't work with us. But many people say they couldn't work with their spouse every day, but I've always considered it a blessing. But another favorite of mine is definitely watching the incredible team we have here. They work so hard every day, working towards the same goal, is to develop a product that makes people's lives better. And it's just always very inspiring to watch everyone working towards the same goal. The biggest challenge will definitely always have to be getting funding to keep the business running. It's a constant challenge for a small business, so that's always been the biggest challenge for us.
Well, thank you for your thoughts, Tina, and we're going to turn our attention over to the group that actually started the whole company, the research and development team. There are several members of the R&D team, all of which are focused on developing different aspects of the company's technology. And we're going to be bringing in Patrick Hayden, Dr. Patrick Hayden, who is the Vice President of Innovative Research. And we're going to bring him in next. Now we're here with Patrick Hayden. Pat, can you tell us a little bit about your background and how that relates to the work you're doing at BioSurfaces?
Sure, Cam. So my background is primarily in tissue engineering and in vitro toxicology. I first began to work with tissue culture models as a graduate student. At that time, our lab was using cell culture models to study mechanisms of chemical toxicity. As a postdoc at NIEHS, I continued to use skin cultures for toxicology studies. These cultures were a single layer of cells cultured on a plastic dish submerged in culture medium. And while they displayed some of the biochemical properties of skin cells, they didn't have any 3D structure or functional physical properties of actual skin. I had my first exposure to three-dimensional organotypic skin models when I took my first job with Gillette. These models were cultured on transwell inserts at the air-liquid interface. The tissues had multiple layers, including a functional stratum corneum with in vivo-like barrier properties. So they actually look very much like a real piece of skin, and you can apply real products to them like creams and lotions. Things that you could never imagine doing with submerged monolayer cultures. So I was really intrigued by these models, and I immediately knew that I wanted to keep working with them. One of the skin models I had been using at Gillette was produced by MatTech Corporation, and I was eventually recruited to join the company. At MatTech, my interests changed from primarily using in vitro models as a toxicologist to primarily developing the models in related toxicology applications. I ended up spending the next 20 years developing and producing various 3D tissue models and related applications as commercial products. These models all involve the use of transwell systems and included various skin, lung, and other types of tissue models. My current work here at BioSurfaces for the past year and a half now involves in adapting a variety of open source 3D tissue models to BioSurfaces' novel electrospun scaffold materials. At the moment, my main focus is on developing alveolar air-blood barrier models, consisting of human alveolar epithelial cells and endothelial cells. This work is being supported by NIH. Another model I'm currently working on is of the nasal mucosal epithelium. The impetus for development of both of these respiratory system models is for COVID-19 research and related toxicology and drug development applications. I also expect that other types of epithelial models could benefit by adaptation to electrospun scaffolds, including the skin, the gut, ocular, kidney, as well as other non-epithelial models such as the blood-brain barrier, liver, tumor models, and on and on. So the sky really is the limit for these types of three-dimensional organotypic tissue models.
You've worked in both small and large companies before in your career. What makes this experience different? What do you like about what you were working on here at BioSurfaces?
Well, Cam, I really enjoy the environment here at BioSurfaces because there's a lot of flexibility and opportunity to become involved in numerous aspects of the company, including the basic science, product development, as well as input into some of the basic business aspects and sales and marketing. We have a very open and collaborative atmosphere where everyone plays an important role and is well informed. And while we are currently a small company, it's exciting to play a role in the company's plans to expand and grow larger as we bring our technologies to market.
Perfect. Thank you, Pat. And up next, we'll be talking to Lisa Fitzgerald. Now we have Lisa. Lisa, can you tell us a little bit about your background and how it relates to your current work at the company?
Hi, Cam. Sure. My background is in cell and molecular biology and in the culture systems used to grow and study these cells. Outside of the research lab, I've also had experience in industry in a large life sciences company as an application scientist. And there we worked one-on-one with scientists using our products to optimize their use and to understand any troubleshooting issues to really optimize the success of their research projects. This industry experience actually taught me a lot about the different teams and processes required to bring a product to market and to keep it there and have it be successful. Starting with R&D and then manufacturing, quality management systems, of course, sales and marketing. And then you need a good tech support follow-up for customers to really ensure the success of their use. Here at BioSurfaces now in R&D, so I keep that in mind. We're always, as we're working on discovering new uses for our products or new types of products to use, we're always thinking down the line as to who is our customer, how are they going to use this, what obstacles might they come upon in their use, and we try to be proactive about figuring out those answers before the customer even has to ask them. So to come up with good protocols, we're developing application notes as we get feedback from our customers. So it's always, we're thinking about what we're working on today and then how it's going to be used in the future.
You previously worked at BioSurfaces and now have returned to the company after about 9 years. What makes this experience different from your previous work at the company?
Well, I did work here from 2006 to 2011 as a scientist at the bench. At that time, we were all R&D, all grant funded, and primarily focused on developing a vascular graft, prosthetic vascular graft, nanofibrous, electrospun based. Since then, Matt and Tina have really grown the company. And with those different processes and teams I just mentioned, they've now already got that all in place. Again, R&D, manufacturing, QMS, sales and marketing are all up and running. So that's really impressive to me. And so my role here in R&D is also not just to develop and study our own products, but constantly interacting with the other teams. And I find that really exciting every day because I'm learning more about what they do as they learn about what we do as well.
What do you like about what you are working on at the company?
Well, I'm very excited to come in every day to work with such a talented group. We all learn from each other every day, and we get to work on products that may someday directly save a life or treat an injury or promote discovery of safe and effective drug treatments for patients.
Thanks, Lisa. Next, we have Nate Long, who is the Senior Research Associate, who has been at the company for about 3.5 years and has been one of the longest tenured members of the team. So we'll see him next. Now we have Nate. Nate, can you tell us a little bit about your background and how that relates to the work you are doing at BioSurfaces?
So my background in the biotech field stems from my studies of biology and biotechnology in college at both Emmanuel College for my freshman year and then Endicott College for my sophomore through senior years. While I did learn a lot during my freshman year of college, it was the different classes at Endicott that really helped give me knowledge about the biotechnology field that is so important today. I had many classes outside of my general required courses that gave me a lot of insight into the current technologies being used, especially in the medical device field. One great thing that helped me to get to where I am today was the internship programs offered at Endicott. I was able to do a 5-week internship at BioSurfaces back in 2014, as well as at another company for 3 months in 2015, that really opened my eyes to what happens in a company that academics wasn't able to do. Having the opportunity to build off of my prior class work and internships was very helpful when I started at BioSurfaces, as I feel it gave me a good foundation to build off of.
You're close to receiving your MBA, as I previously mentioned. How will that be put into use at BioSurfaces? Are you going to fully move away from the research side?
I don't think I can fully give up my role of research within the company, as it has always been something that I love to do and have interest in. I hope to be able to parlay my knowledge from the research side into the business end. I find that having a foot in both areas might be beneficial to the company as we move forward in trying to expand what we do here to help others.
Thanks, Nate. We are now bringing in Rayan Kasab, who is an R&D engineer here at BioSurfaces and has been at the company for over 2.5 years. Now we are bringing on Rayan. Rayan, can you tell us a little bit about your background and how that relates to the work you are doing at BioSurfaces now?
Sure. I graduated from UMass Dartmouth with a bachelor's degree in bioengineering, where I learned engineering and research skills that I apply to the work I do here every day. Whether it's working in the wet lab and planning experiments or using my engineering background to get creative on the product development side.
You came to the company after accepting an internship position here. Can you talk a little bit more about how that experience helped you and what it meant to you?
Yeah, so I got an internship here right after graduation, and that was a great introduction to the company. I got to experience more of a high-level view of all the different projects that were ongoing, and I got a little bit of a sneak peek of how I would fit into the company. It made the transition to full-time a lot easier. What I like most about what I'm working on here is just being able to work on a project from start to finish. So in other words, to take the project from being an idea and doing some research and planning to finally getting it to prototype of the final product.
Thanks, Rayan. Next, we'll be having on Dr. Joshri Chakravarti, who is a senior research associate here in the R&D group. We are now joined by Joshri. Joshri, can you tell us a little bit about your background and how that relates to the work you're doing at BioSurfaces?
Sure. So my background is in biomedical engineering and biotechnology. And my previous research and research experience was during my school, during my PhD, where I was working with a polymer, a natural-based polymer to make biomaterials for wound healing and tissue engineering applications. So after my PhD, I joined BioSurfaces, and here I got to work with different polymer-based materials and focus on the assessment of these materials for their biocompatibility, or developing cell culture-based models and various tissue engineering applications. So you can see that my previous research experience and the background directly aligns with the work that I'm doing here at BioSurfaces.
My understanding is that this is your first work experience after completing your PhD. Can you talk a little bit more about the two experiences and how they're similar and different? How has your PhD prepared you for what you do at BioSurfaces, and what do you like about what you're doing at the company?
Yeah, I joined BioSurfaces right after my grad school. So both of these experiences are similar and different in many ways. The research in academia setting was done more for the sake of learning, as opposed to having a more clinical, more application-based. So in contrast, working in the industry or at BioSurfaces allows a researcher like me to feel a sense of immediate impact on the patient's life. So both workplaces have their own share of pressure and demands. In contrast to the fast-paced nature of work at BioSurfaces, working in an academic setting tends to be longer and focused more on long-term goals and education. Whereas here, the pressures are typically more deadline driven. And as the team works to integrate science and business focused problem solving on tight project deadlines in accordance with larger product and business goals. Although this does remove a sense of autonomy that you can have at grad school, but the positive side of this is that the research that results from here has more direct impact on someone's life. So to work in an industry, one must be willing to work in a team and share the credit for sure. Also, getting my PhD and research experience prepared me with the expertise and knowledge that was required, or the skills that I think were valuable not only for the academic world, but for getting jobs in an industry. So I think my PhD experience equipped me with a solid technical knowledge and hands-on experience needed, which served as the basis of the work that I do here at BioSurfaces. I learned how to work independently and also as a team player. And overall, I think it helped me to advance in my career. And I kind of knew what kind of work I would be doing here at BioSurfaces, but I definitely have learned a lot more in the past 1.5 years that I've been here.
Thanks, Joshua. And as you can see, BioSurfaces has a lot of research going on at the company to transition outcomes of the research programs. BioSurfaces installed a manufacturing team within the company. That team is led by Art Martin, who's the VP of Manufacturing, and we'll have him on next. Now we have Art on. Art, can you tell us a little bit about your background and how that relates to the work you're doing at BioSurfaces?
Sure. My work experience in manufacturing and technology spans nearly half a century. I was trained as an aircraft mechanic in the Air Force at the ripe old age of 18, when I'm there to build a career in manufacturing management. In 1981, my intrigue with technology and engineering led me to a career in robotics engineering. I joined a startup laboratory robotics company in Hopkinton, Mass. 5 years later, having always worked in management roles at small companies, I decided to launch my own venture in laboratory robotics. As an entrepreneur, I was blessed and sometimes cursed to have been exposed to all aspects of running a technology business in the highly regulated pharmaceutical industry. So in the end, my years of experience as an entrepreneur in manufacturing companies that serve regulated industries dovetails real nicely with the work I'm now doing at BioSurfaces.
You've been involved with BioSurfaces for over 7.5 years now, both from outside serving as an advisor from the Small Business Development Center to now internally as a director. What changes have you seen in the company during that time, and what do you like about what you are working on here?
Yeah, as a senior advisor with the Small Business Development Center at Clark University, I met with hundreds of companies. There was something very special about BioSurfaces when I first took them on as a client. Matt and Tina's story was a reflection of my own victories and struggles as an entrepreneur. They were working hard to transition BioSurfaces from a company that strictly did research to one with a product line. Of all the companies I was advising, BioSurfaces was certainly the best match from my experience, and so I dedicated a good portion of my time to them. After a few years of advising, I officially came on board so I could dedicate even more time to helping them become successful. With that, we've come a long way. Today, we have equipment design capabilities and a manufacturing facility ready to be ISO 13485 certified. What I love most about BioSurfaces is the dedication of the team and how well the work dovetails with my many years of experience. It's a blessing to have the opportunity to pass on what I've learned over the years to such a dedicated team.
Thanks, Art. And next we'll have Kyle Golden, who is a manufacturing engineer for BioSurfaces. Now we have Kyle. Kyle, can you tell us a little bit about your background and how that relates to the work you are doing at BioSurfaces?
So I got my bachelor's degree in mechanical engineering, so I was expecting to kind of come out and work heavily on designing mechanical systems. And to some extent, that is what I do at BioSurfaces, but it's also kind of allowed me to greatly expand my skills and adding abilities with electrical design and programming. So it's really allowed me to kind of work on all steps of the project and kind of get to really know the machines that I work on inside and out.
Similar to Rayanne, you came to the company after accepting an internship position here. Can you talk a little bit about what that experience meant to you, and how do you like working here at the company?
So the internship really kind of provided me with a pathway into entering into this new world. I wasn't really sure which direction I wanted to go in quite yet, and it really kind of allowed me to kind of dip my toe in instead of jumping in head first. And it also kind of gave me a chance to really expand my skills and try things that I'd never done before without worry. It's been a great experience. Like I said before, I get to work on every step of the project from start to finish. So there's always stuff to do. Plus, it's nice when I get to come in every day and face new challenges.
Thanks, Kyle. Next up, we'll have Kirsten Harnden, who is a quality engineer here at BioSurfaces. Now we have Kirsten. Kirsten, can you tell us a little bit about your background and how that relates to the work you're doing at BioSurfaces?
Sure. My background is in bioengineering. And while I was in school, I focused a lot on implantable medical devices, and I took a lot of quality and regulatory classes. While in college, I interned at BioSurfaces, and my first job out of college was at a large company in the post-market and quality assurance department, where I handled medical device investigations. So currently I'm working with ART to implement the quality management system. My background in post-market quality has provided me with a lot of relevant experience in working with a quality system, and I've been able to draw from that and continue learning in my current position.
As you already mentioned, you served as an intern at BioSurfaces, but decided to pursue a larger company prior to taking the position that you have now at BioSurfaces. What makes this experience different compared to a large company, and what do you like about working here?
This may not be true for all large companies, but at least when comparing my experiences, I have a lot more freedom and room to grow and learn in my position at BioSurfaces and collaborate with my colleagues. In my previous position, the role was very rigid and I was hired to perform one job, and collaboration with other engineering teams within the company was very rare and required management supervision. So right now I'm really enjoying the responsibilities and opportunities that I have that I've been given, and to continue growing my knowledge while working with the much more senior level engineers on the quality system. And as the company grows, this system becomes increasingly important to the success of our products, and I really enjoy being involved in that process.
Thanks, Chris. And next up, we'll have the BioSurfaces business side of the company. The final part of our BioSurfaces team focuses on the business development side, the group that I'm associated with alongside Nate Long. My job within the group is to continue progressing our marketing side of the business, whether that's the website, through social media, or through. The website has come a long way since I started working full-time at the company almost 2 years ago. I continuously am looking to refresh and update our page's SEO, which is search engine optimization, and it's something that allows your pages to be at the top of searches on Google or any other search engine. I also spend a lot of time developing new ideas for webcasts and other forms of informative information that can be useful to the end user. I enjoy being a part of a close-knit group of people where you are constantly receiving new information and truly learning. From learning more about contractual agreements to really understanding the change our product makes both in and outside of people, I truly do learn something new every day, which I feel the small business environment helps a lot with. We now have Tom Barrett on, who is the Vice President of Business Development here at BioSurfaces. Tom, can you tell us a little bit about your background and how that relates to the work you're doing at BioSurfaces?
Sure, Cam, I'm happy to. I began my career as a corporate lawyer for a large Boston law firm, then called Hale & Dorr, now known as Wilmer Hale. After 20 enjoyable years in that field, I decided to become an entrepreneur myself, like a lot of my clients. So for about the last 15 years, I have helped to start and operate companies while also continuing to provide legal advice. As you know, one of the companies I have advised is BioSurfaces. So becoming vice president for business development happened quite naturally. Just as I have done for other companies I have advised in the past, helping with business development has been part of my role at BioSurfaces for a while. So again, it was just natural for me to take on the title, and I was happy to do so. And my legal background is very useful when it's time to put contracts in place for business development opportunities that we develop here.
Similar to Art, you have been involved with the company for over 7 years. You have served from an outside perspective as a company counsel, as you mentioned, and the business advisor, as well as recently accepting a director role. What changes have you seen in the company during that time, and what do you like about what you are working on at BioSurfaces?
Sure. Well, as you know, Cam, I started working with BioSurfaces at the time that Matt and Tina decided to move from a grant-funded research and development operation to commercialization of some of the great things that they had invented and developed. That decision was, of course, itself a big change, but I think an even more significant change is the evolution of how BioSurfaces is approaching commercialization. We've moved from focusing on a single medical device, the hemodialysis access graft, which is still a great opportunity, a great device, but now we're using the really tremendous electrospinning expertise at BioSurfaces to develop quite a diverse portfolio of different commercial opportunities. As you know, Cam, the opportunities range from medical devices to drug delivery systems to 3D scaffolds for tissue engineering, and even now some consumer products.
Thanks, Tom.
No problem.
One last question for all of the team members that we'll hear individually is, what would be one personal goal you would like to accomplish at the company, and where do you see the company going in the next 5 years? For me, a personal goal is to be able to become more of a salesperson for the company and be able to truly bring in contracts and new customers to help the company further grow. I truly believe in the next 5 years, you could see a massive influx in both business and sales. I would like to see our company grow to 30 plus people by 2026 and continue to reach different areas of business to which we can help better the health and needs of the people.
I'm really looking forward to watching the company implement its plans and grow over the next 5 years, and to continue to play whatever role I can. We have a pretty long list of tissue models with potential in vitro diagnostics or clinical applications, and my personal goal is to help advance these products to the marketable stage. So I expect to stay pretty busy.
Personally, I'd like to see one of the medical devices we've worked on become a clinical standard of care for patients. But since that won't likely happen in the next 5 years, in the meantime, I'd really like to get our electrospun scaffolds adopted as the new standard for 3D cell and tissue culture.
One goal that I would like to accomplish at the company is to be able to help new hires learn as much as I know so that we can all help one another when it comes to the work we do on a day-to-day basis. This leads into the second question of where I see the company going. I think the possibilities are limitless here for us at BioSurfaces. Having a great team that can function on many different levels and work together as one can really help us continue to grow and expand in the biotech sphere.
A personal goal for me is to earn a leadership role here at the company, which ties into your next question of where I see the company going in the next 5 years. I do see our team growing exponentially as we get busier. We're going to bring more people on. I also see some projects that are in the research phase right now transitioning into the manufacturing phase. And so as the company grows, I hope to grow along with it.
One of my personal goals would be to lead some projects and work more with a team of engineers. I see the company really kind of growing in the next couple of years and beginning to kind of break into the market with some of their products, and it'd be great to see that.
In the next 5 years, I would like to expand my horizons and learn as much as I can, as quickly as I can within the organization. And I would like to take the lead on a project that I'm passionate about and take on more responsibility to see the product development, maybe from bench to market. I have some amazing mentors here, so I'd like to be able to provide similar guidance. If the opportunity came, I would like to potentially take on a leadership role where I can continue to grow within the company, influence and support other employees in their career paths. Also, in 5 years, I see BioSurfaces becoming a leader in the medical device industry with more products in the market ranging from implantable devices, drug-eluting sutures, wound dressings, or even personal care products, which would outperform the current industry standards. And the use of these products and solutions could bring the cost of care and improve outcomes. That's my hope.
My dad died from peripheral artery disease when he was 70. When I first met Matt and Tina, I was intrigued by their work with synthetic vascular grafts. I remain a firm believer that our new spun technology will someday prove to be a significant advancement in that field. I'd like to be a part of bringing that technology to fruition and believe that there's a good chance that we will see that happen in the next 5 years.
In the next 5 years, I'd like to manage more projects following the complete implementation of our quality system. And I hope for the company that that means we're on the pathway to continued success and supplying our customers with great research and diagnostic tools and hopefully an FDA-approved device.
Well, in the short term, I want to see the company acquire a solid and growing group of repeat customers for the new 3D scaffold business, as well as implementing at least 3 or 4 new joint development projects with respected strategic partners such as Takeda and others. Over the longer term, I am excited about mentoring the current team and adding to it so that BioSurfaces is well positioned to become a much larger company using its core technology to introduce exciting new products and therapies for years to come.
I'd just like to keep learning and helping the company grow. My 5-year goal would be for all of us to definitely see 1 or more of our products out in the market helping people. That's always been the goal of the company. So I'd love to see that happen within the next 5 years.
I would like to continue to grow as a leader and make sure that I am working to grow the future leaders in this company. Our success will ultimately be connected to them as it has been over the past 18 years. I envision the company continuing to launch products for consumers while also looking to finally break through with 1 or more of our medical devices.
I would like to thank you for taking the time out of your day to learn more about BioSurfaces and truly understand, what our whole company is about. It's been an awesome 18 years. I haven't been technically a part of the company for all 18 years, but I've been here the entire ride. And to see how far we've come is truly awesome to see. And I think we've got many more years ahead of us. And I hope you guys stick around with us and continue to listen to these webcasts and give us feedback. So if you want any more information on our company or any other information about our products, please feel free to go to our website at www.biosurfaces.us if you do. And if you need to learn anything more, contact us at info@biosurfaces.us. Thank you, and I hope you guys have a fantastic rest of your day.